Welcome once again to the Autosportradio.com 2021 show. We are coming to you from where else? And more than a year now, about 14 months from the Grant King Race Shops in Indianapolis. It's 8155 Crawfordsville Road. And should you want to take a tour of this place, it is a working museum. You need to give them a call, and I'll give you the number upcoming here in a few minutes. But you got to come down there. It's really quite something to see. Today's show is presented by Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the NTT IndyCar Series, the SVRA, McGilvery's Pub and Eatery in Speedway, and VP Insurance. Got to remind you, because it's really something to see. It's the SVR VP of Public Relations new book. Mark Dill has come out with a new book. It's called The Legend of the First Super Speedway, The Battle for the Soul of American Racing. I'm in the process of reading it. It is spectacular. And a friend of mine bought a copy after hearing Mark on the program and said it's absolutely great. In fact, he sent a letter to Mark telling him how fantastic it really is. Also, Paul Page's book will be coming out in the next couple of days. It's called Hello, I'm Paul Page. It's Race Day in Indianapolis. You can pre-order the book at Amazon or Barnes & Noble and bring it out to the Speedway with you anytime during the time when it's open and around. And Paul will be around. He'll have some pens in his pocket to autograph it for you. It should be a good one. So remember that. Hello, I'm Paul Page. It's Race Day in Indianapolis. It will be coming out in a couple of days. If you have computer problems, which I am famous for, we have the A+ Affordable Computer Doctor can help you out. His name is Steve Freeze. Give him a call. Tell him what the problem is. If need be, the doctor will make a house call. His number is 317-328-0766. Call Steve. He can help you, believe me. And, of course, if it's time for your favorite doctor's appointment, and that, of course, is a dentist, there is the best there is. It's Indy Dental Group. Dr. Jack Miller, of Indy 500 veteran, and his wife, Dr. Liz Lewis, have a fantastic practice. Call and make an appointment. You'll be glad. Trust me. 317-846-6125. If it's time to redo your insurance for your home, your car, your commercial property, we highly recommend VP Insurance, located at 5004 West 16th Street in Speedway. Give Mike Pardee a call. Tell him what you need. He'll help you out. The number is 317-248-0070. You'll be surprised. You'll get better coverage for less money. And if you ever wondered, why do these guys and gals like to risk their life in a car going 240 plus miles an hour? Easy to find out. Take a ride in the Indy Racing Experience two-seater. You can go to indyracingexperience.com and find a date that'll work for you wherever they are around the country. Or you can call the shop. The office number is 317-243-7171. Ask for Shonda. And tell her, or in the promo box online, put DK1 and you'll get a 50% discount. Are you into Trans Am and vintage racing? Well, it just so happens SVRA has both. Tony Perella owns them both, and he's now the owner of Trans Am. So you can go to svra.com. First off, subscribe to their fantastic Speed Tour magazine. Great stories, great photos, and tell you when they're having an event. Good places to visit when you're in town. And while you're there, hit the schedule button and see where they're going. And if you can get it's anywhere near to where you are, go and see it. I guarantee you'll love it. That's SVRA. Great operation. Are you looking for a vintage car? Do you have one you need rebuilt, restored? The Grant King shops can help you. Give them a call. Tell them what you're looking for or what you got, and they can take care of everything for you. Their number is 317-820-3595. You can use that same number to call up and see if you can take a tour. You will love it. My guest today is a young man who's been working diligently with an operation trying to put the program together, and they're hoping to start in May. He's a gentleman who has climbed the Road to Indy program, has run the Pro 2000 in the Indy Lights, and he's had a couple of rides in the IndyCar series and has shown very well, and hoping to continue his career upcoming. And that's, of course, I'm speaking of R.C. Enerson. R.C., it's always great to see you, and I am hoping upon hope, as a lot of your fans are, that things will all come together finally.
Yeah, of course. We've been working really, really hard on this, and it's been a challenge, and I think it's been like a year and a half now. So we've been trying to get back, and these guys are putting their all into it, and I'm excited.
Well, let's start from the beginning. What got you into driving race cars in the first place? I know your dad's a huge fan, but what got you started and saying, this is it, this is what I want to do?
A big deal is my dad grew up in Indy. My mom was born in Indy, but grew up in Chicago. So it was he's been going to the 500 forever and always been a race fan. And I was super into the Hot Wheels cars when I was a kid. And my mom decided, hey, you should probably get him a go-kart. We grew up in Indy. There's a little Dirt Devils track down the road. And he was like, nope, if he's racing a go-kart, he's going to race on asphalt. And it kind of kick-started from there. It started as a hobby up until I was about 10 or 11. And then we really started to get into the pro karting and being really competitive, and then moved into the Skip Barber stuff. And that's where everybody was going at the time. I think it was back in 2010 or something like that, or 2009. And after the Skip Barber stuff, we moved in, tested the US F2000 car. Really loved that. That car is amazing. From there, we ended up going into lights because they're coming out with a new car. So it was going to help level the playing field. Nobody was going to come in for their second year with the same experience or with the previous knowledge because it's a brand new car. So we made the jump, planned to run multiple years of that, ended up getting an opportunity to run with Dale Quinn Racing, and we had a pretty good showing in Mid-Ohio.
As a matter of fact, you did. If the calculations would have been right, you had a top 10.
Yeah, it would have been good. It would have been probably a splash and go, but we would have definitely been up front.
Your dad has started a school, the Lucas Oil Driving School, and you're full-time as an instructor in that. Does the fact that you're in those cars frequently help you when you get into the IndyCar, hopefully in the next few weeks?
Yeah, obviously you want to be in the IndyCar as much as possible, and at least driving something is what most people say. It doesn't matter really what it is because you have to adapt depending on tracks, depending on what car you're driving. So as long as you're driving something and staying active, it usually helps out a lot. It's just it's always tough to get back in the IndyCar with that wheel weight, that downforce. It takes a bit to get back used to. It almost feels alien at first. You get through that first few laps, and then it starts to all come back.
Are you going to be able to test before you come to the Speedway? I've heard something about a possible test.
I believe so. We haven't had any confirmation on it, but we're doing our best to get a test in beforehand.
Now, if and when, I'm going to say when your program gets underway, you're going to have a brand new car. It's being assembled as we speak, as a matter of fact. So that's got to be, helpful to start with. It's a brand new car. It's never been bumped. It's never been anything.
Yeah, no, it's brand new, brand spanking new. Roy's been doing a good job on that. So we're just ticking away at it, making sure we tick all the boxes and make sure we have a good prep car when we show up at the Speedway so we can be quick out of the box.
Now, we're doing this on Friday the 23rd, and you're in town, certainly not to do this because you could have done it from home, but what brought you into town? Why are you in town now?
We have I have a meet and greet later today. It's the date today, the 23rd.
Yep.
Today, it's from 4 to 8. It's in Speedway on Main Street, so it's going to be a fun time. And obviously, I try to be down here as much as possible for whatever the team needs. Got the seat fit done, so that's underway. And yeah, we're just trying to tick off all our boxes.
What's it like for a young man like yourself who has the obvious talent and has shown that to be out of the car for so long? I mean, that's got to drive you nuts.
Yeah, of course. I mean, but you look at the percentage of people that do make it to IndyCar, make it their full-time effort. It's a very small percentage of race car drivers. And I mean, you always want to keep the hope alive and always keep pushing for it. And that's what we've been doing. And we've got a good opportunity here. So I got to capitalize on it and give my best.
Well, it seems from what I see, and I see it quite frequently, obviously, since I'm down in the Grand King Race Shop frequently, that a real good effort is being put together to make sure that when you do get together with a team, that you're ready, the team's ready, they understand you, and the car's ready to go.
Sorry, what was that?
I said, since I'm down at the Grand King shops quite frequently, I see the activity that's involved in trying to get together with a team that will give you the car you need. It's brand new, as we said, and that you're ready to go, that you have the best possible chance to do well. To be
yeah, no, these guys are really, really experienced. They have a huge history of racing background, and they have the right people here. and it's coming along really, really well. And obviously, we don't have an announcement to make, but they'll be informing me whenever we're going to be able to do that. But as of right now, still just, again, like I said, we're ticking off the boxes on getting the car built, making sure I'm comfortable in it, and hopefully get a test in before we show up at the Speedway.
How important is it for you to be able to get some early seat time so you and the engineer can get on the same page?
Yeah, it's always important to make sure the driver and the engineer are on the same exact page and have kind of that bond. So that what I feel is like a 1 out of 5 loose or 1 out of 5 understeer. They know how big that adjustment needs to be, because every driver is going to be different. Somebody's 1 out of 5 understeer could be another person's 3 out of 5. So it's knowing how big those increments are, and you get that bond, and then you start to work together so the changes can come really quickly, and it's always a positive change.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me to have over the years watched drivers take a car out, and then the other team member will take the same car out and say, good grief, how do you drive this thing?
Yeah, it's a lot of personal preference. It is. I've seen between, even when I was teammates back with Connor, it's like you saw the difference in the setups, and it was like, I don't know how you're driving with that much front wing or something like that. It's like, it's really tough it's all about personal preference with drivers. It's what feels comfortable. And the biggest part about being quick is being comfortable in the car.
Do you think that this new car with the aero screen and so forth and the halo over the top will be something that you have to get acclimated to? That it'll be, or the fact that you've never driven it, you just drive the car and adjust it accordingly?
I do think the biggest difference I think that I'm going to need is not getting the wind on the helmet. That's going to be the toughest deal to acclimate myself to, is you're not going to feel the wind, the speed on the helmet buffering, all that stuff. The visuals, still, you're pretty much seeing exactly where you are. Once your eyes are focused that far forward up track, you don't really notice anything like that, but it's definitely going to be strange to get used to no wind on the helmet.
And after the race last weekend with the big to-do on the first lap, Ryan Hunter-Reay said if it weren't for the changes they made in the halo and the aero screen, he might not be here, or he could be in the hospital yet. So do you?
Yeah, no, it's a big issue. I mean, they tried to do so many things in the past, like when they added the carbon strip to the helmet. Because when people get hit in the head with stuff, it's when you're going at that speeds, it doesn't matter how small that piece is, it's gonna have a really high G-force impact. So to protect the helmet and to protect our heads, make sure we don't go crazy or get concussions and stuff like that is huge.
And you feel perfectly confident in the car at the speeds they're running, and they're running in the 240 plus bracket at the Speedway going down the straightaway. You feel confident and comfortable in the car that it's safe?
Yeah, I think we kind of always do. Even if it does look from the outside like it's really dangerous, it's what we know best. As race car drivers, you don't really think about that kind of thing until after it would happen or something like that. You never think about crashing. You're always thinking about getting faster and faster. So it's kind of like it's never really in the back of your mind that much. It just amazes me to say that you have a talent to be fast in a race car. Sounds kind of silly, but it's true. I mean, I've driven go-karts out at Whiteland out south of Indianapolis, and the owner of the track would give me a lap start, and 3 laps he passed me. So my thing in racing is not driving a car, obviously. Yeah, there is a natural talent to it, but it's a lot of training. Most of the race car drivers you see driving at the top have been doing it for 15 odd some plus years, if not more. And so there is a slight bit of natural talent to it, but it's a lot of training. I mean, I didn't start out in a go-kart being very good at it either. And I just got better and better at it as you start practicing. And you start progressing, you learn. It's like anything, practice makes perfect. Even though we know we can't achieve perfect.
Yeah, but you keep trying. And the thing that has always impressed me when I work for a race team is the effort that the crew puts in to give you the car that you want to win. That everybody knows their job, they know what they're supposed to do, they know how they're supposed to do it, and you have the confidence that they gave you the car, you can stand on it, and it's not going to come apart. You're not going to lose a wheel or any of that nonsense, which does happen from time to time, but very seldom.
Yeah, it's you put a lot of faith in your mechanics because I mean when you're pushing the car that hard, it's basically the limit of it is. It's you just have to have that trust level with your team and your mechanics. Those guys need to be very skilled at it as well. And you just got to have that trust. Obviously, mechanical failures do happen. It's a part of racing, but it's all about car prep and making sure every nut and bolt is tightened and they go through that car like a comb.
Well, I've noticed that the couple of days I've seen you here now, you're in the shop watching them and talking with them, and they're putting the car together. So your confidence can build that they know what they're doing. They don't look at what is this part for and where does it go. They know what they're doing. So that's got to give you confidence when you strap in and start down the pit lane. You're ready to go.
Yeah, and I mean, I've worked with Roy back when I was at Dale Coyne, and I know I never had a mechanical failure there, or anything like that. I haven't had one in a long time, but as long as you have the right people in the car and you're paying attention to what's being done to it and making sure you're comfortable, and it's their job to make sure the thing doesn't fall apart, and they've done a really good job at it. And it's just we need to make sure the car's together and we're good to go for the speedway.
Do you have a preference in tracks? I mean, obviously the speedway, I think there's only 3 or 4 ovals this year, and the rest of them are street and road courses. Do you have a preference? Do you prefer ovals or you prefer street and road courses?
I mean, they're so incredibly different. They all have their different characteristics that you like. Obviously, I grew up driving mainly on road course, you don't get that much time on street courses. You get normally 1 or 2 practices, and you're already going into qualifying. So, but when you get to a permanent road course, you definitely get a lot more testing and a lot more trust in the car. You get to work on the setup more. I'd say I like permanent road courses the most, but I do like ovals. The oval racing, it's a completely different technique. From anywhere from where you want to save fuel to running in traffic, it's completely different than anything road or street course. And then street courses are tough as well. It's you never do a lap the same because of the bumps and because of the walls, and it makes it's just so different between track to track. But I definitely say permanent road courses are probably my favorite.
Have you talked to any of the drivers to find out the changes that have been made this year to try and, I know Jay Fry said they tried to make it so that when you get behind somebody, you're not so much thrown out of whack that the car will stick. You'll get enough downforce.
Yeah, they've been. I know they've been working on that. They've been working on getting wickers in different spots on the car and helping increase the downforce level and not throwing up as much turbulent air, so to make the racing a little bit closer. Because it's just so hard to get close to people when it's throwing up. You rely on that downforce so much. So the second you get turbulent air thrown up at you, it makes the car feel like it's almost not on the ground. So they're definitely doing a good job at that. I got to watch the open test, so it looked like people were doing pretty good in traffic. Obviously, cold temperatures help that, but we'll have to see what the temps like for the 500. I think the cooler temps are going to make for a better race, but we'll just have to see.
I was, I guess, a little bit surprised when Romain Grosjean spun when he was testing it. I believe it was Barber. I think that's where he was testing, and he lost the car. And he said he didn't realize that in Formula One, there's so much downforce, you steer the car. But in IndyCar, you have to drive the car. There's more of your ability to drive it because the downforce is there, but it's not near what it is in Formula One.
Yeah, I think obviously Formula One has power steering, but they have so much downforce. I bet the wheel weight is pretty close, but the IndyCar doesn't have as much downforce. You're moving, you're working with the wheel, you're working with the hands. You watch a Formula One onboard, it looks really smooth. Obviously, when the car steps out in a Formula One car, it's gone. Yeah. It's really tough to save something like that. But the IndyCar, definitely on road courses, you're moving around a lot. It's not quite as planted as it used to be with that old with the old aero kit. It's definitely a little bit more active, and it's definitely tough to handle, but it's physical as well. And then you add the aero screen where everybody says the temps in the car are getting a lot hotter, so you're putting even more physical strain on yourself. So it's just a conversion over. Obviously, if you're a race car driver and you have enough experience like he does, you can pretty much drive any car and make it go quick. You just adapt to the different driving style, and I think he just got caught out by the wildness of how much the IndyCar moves around. And the second he figured it out, then he finished the top 10 at Barber. So I mean, it's once you figure it out, it's going to be quick.
Well, I think you come with a lot of experience, not so much in IndyCar, but racing experience, which counts tremendously. And I think that you bring what this team needs in the driver. They put together a crew that knows what to do to build the cars, and you come in with the talent and know how to drive the car. So I think you will should get enough practice at the speedway to get everything dialed in for yourself. So I'm looking forward to seeing you running up in the front, near the front, at the front.
Yeah, I mean, I got to drive at the speedway in the lights car. I did 2 Freedom 100s. So I mean, I understand how to get around the place, but obviously that last 20 mile an hour 30 mile an hour that you gain in comparison to the lights car is a huge amount of speed difference. That last 30 mile an hour is a big jump, and obviously the Indy car is a bit more downforce, but it's definitely going to be a learning experience. But we got plenty of practice, so you take things slow. Always try to get slightly quicker as you go. Don't try to bite off more than I can chew, and yeah, keep working on it and make sure we get a good quick car. Make sure we make the field, right? Got 35, 36 cars, something like that.
Yeah, I think they got 36, and it could be one more, but I'm not sure. Just what I hear. Does it bother you at those speeds when you look in your side view mirror and you see somebody right alongside you? Here you're running 240 miles an hour, and there's somebody right there. Does that bother you, or do you know that these guys have the talent to be able to, run side by side?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of respect, and I mean, between the drivers, and everybody's got so much experience and are so talented at it that you can run an inch from each other and trust that you're not going to end up in the wall. And for us, when the cars are designed to be fast, so going 240 or whatever I've done in the lights car doesn't really feel like you're going 240 or 210, whatever the lights car was. It definitely slows down a bit because the car is designed to do something like that. Obviously, it's really, really quick, but it definitely slows down a bit for us, and it's a little bit more. It's not as scary as it looks from the outside. Let's put it that
way. The Lucas Oil Driving School. I talked to your dad about that, and I said I want to be somewhere when one of your graduates, and he went through with me how many graduates have moved up from your school, moved on, and are doing very well. I said, I'd like to be at the first time that one of your graduates wins an IndyCar event. I said, I'd like to be standing next to you, not real close because you'll be jumping and yelling and screaming. But it's got to be neat to have this school and being successful. Now you're the official school for the Road to Indy program, so they know when they graduate from your school that they're pretty much ready to move on and get to the US F2000 and so forth. But it's got to be kind of a thrill to see your graduates moving on and moving up.
Yeah, I mean, our 2018 champion or 2019 champion, 2018 champion, Reese Gold, he's an Indy Pro. He won the USF 2000 race, was in it for the championship pretty much all the way to the end in his second year in USF. And he's now an Indy Pro and doing well with Winkos. And then we got, I think we have 8 or 9 former racing former drivers that raced with us that are in the USF 2000 grid right now. And Prescott Camel got second and a first at Barber with D-Force Racing. So it's definitely promising to see that kind of talent come out of our school and go into the Road to Indy and be successful.
I've talked to you as a young man that wants to, I think next year run with your series. He's only 15 at the moment. And he really enjoyed what he did, and he appreciated the help that you gave him. Because when I asked you about him, you said, "Oh yeah, I know who he is. I spoke with him quite a few times." And to have your experience and some of the other coaches, driver instructors that you have in there, you've got a good group of people teaching these kids what to look for and how to race, how to drive.
Yeah, we've got a pretty stout instructor lineup, and we got a lot of race car drivers from all different series. So you get tons and tons of information. We always tell them if you need any connections to any kind of the relationship introductions to any kind or information, we're in pretty much every single form of racing there is, anywhere from sports cars to NASCAR connections to IndyCar connections to Road to Indy. We try to help them out as much as possible, not just train them on track, but help give them the information they need to move forward and be successful at it. So and I really enjoy doing that. I mean, racing's pretty much everything I know. And and I love doing that as a job, and especially the instructing side of it. It's cool to see these kids come in, and then you see the progression they make when you keep giving them feedback and coaching them from the corner, and see their lap times come down. It's super rewarding in a way, and I really enjoy doing it. Obviously, I like driving a race car more, but it's definitely a close second.
And of course, your sister is heavily involved in making travel arrangements for the people coming in and so forth. So it's a family affair and doing extremely well. If somebody wanted to find out or look into getting involved in your program, where do they go? How do they do that?
So you go to lucasraceschool.com. We have our whole entire schedule sitting there. And it's just picking the date and the track that's probably close to you, or if you're flying to it, that's fine. And then we send out all of our information of where we're staying as the staff, and people normally like to stay in the same hotel because you'll see us around the hotel all the time. Go to dinner with them and stuff like that. But you'll go to lucasraceschool.com, or on our social media. You'll be able to get a link to the website to be able to check out all of our stuff and see where we're going this year. And we're getting ready to start our race series that starts in May 5th or May 4th. We start at the Corvette Museum in Kentucky, Bowling Green.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good year.
Well, it'll be a good year when you strap into the Indy car for the first time and hit the road and get out and get some laps in. I look forward to it. I watched you race, and I think you have the talent, and you're just what this new team needs. And I think, putting you in the car with the crew they've put together is going to be fun to watch. And I'm going to be watching.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I'm super thrilled and super anxious to get in the car.
Well, we wish you nothing but the best. I certainly hope that once you get going in Indianapolis, that you'll be able to complete the season. I know that's their plan. They're working toward that. So we look forward to it, and wish you nothing but the best. Thanks for taking the time, even though you're only about 15 feet away from me. And too bad that we're not going to get this up on time in case somebody didn't know you were in town to do a meet and greet, but we'll report on how it went and wish you nothing but the best. And thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
My guest has been R.C. Enerson. Look for him at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the 105th running of the Indianapolis 500. He will be there, and you need to cheer for him. I think, what's the car number? It's 48, I think, isn't it? What's your car number?
75.
75, okay.
48 is Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Well, you look like Jimmy from here to me, so that's what I slipped up with. So we look forward to seeing you. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being with us.
Yep, thanks, Tom.
A couple more guests upcoming, so hopefully you'll get notification and be able to watch until the next time. This is Don Kay saying thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Good night.